Now, ask yourself, what would you do if you saw someone fall into open water? Well, new research from the RNLI suggests that just a fifth of us would call 999 immediately.
They now want more people to think about their actions as we enter the deadliest month for swimmers. Sky's Rebecca Williams has this report.
Run by volunteers, the RNLI responds to emergencies at sea. Weston-super-Mare is one of the charity's busiest stations in the country. Here, their latest rescue was just last week, when a sailor called for help after his yacht got stuck on rocks. August is the busiest month for the RNLI, and so today there's a warning for holidaymakers to stay safe.
We're seeing mainly people in rubber dinghies, lilo beds, just drifting out to sea, thinking this is very nice, but not realising the current's taking them miles away. People walking out in the mud and not realising that the tide comes in so quick, it comes in faster than walking pace.
Latest figures show only a fifth of the population, so they'd call 999 for help if someone fell into open water. Last year saw 31 coastal deaths in the UK in August, whilst over the last 5 years, in that month alone, there have been 122. Among those who've died in August were 5 friends who got into difficulty whilst playing at Camber Sands in East Sussex last summer. An inquest heard how the men were all fit and competent swimmers, but there were hidden dangers below the water's surface. Here at Weston-super-Mare, the tides are incredibly strong, and while summer temperatures may be warm, waters aren't usually any higher than 15 degrees Celsius, which can cause the body to go into shock. If that happens, the warning is not to swim hard and thrash around, but instead to keep calm, float for about a minute or so, and then try and get to safety. And the RNLI is saying anyone who witnesses someone in trouble should call the emergency services and ask for the Coast Guard. But many don't necessarily think of the repercussions.
Sometimes the currents are very strong and sometimes I get swept out, but usually an adult's in the water, my parents or my grandparents or whoever is supervising me, and they take me back.
You just want to go further out, but then you're also worried about getting swept away.
We wouldn't allow the children to go too far out. Obviously today it's really windy, so we'd keep a close eye on them and make sure they don't go too far into the water.
With August being one of the busiest months on Britain's beaches, it's also a busy time for the RNLI. And the charity's warning that no matter how competent you are at swimming, always prepare for the unexpected. Rebecca Williams, Sky News in Weston-super-Mare.
Now, what would you do if you saw someone who had fallen into open water and they were in difficulty? Well, new research from the RNLI suggests that just a fifth of us would call the emergency services immediately. And they now want people to think about their actions as we enter what is the deadliest month for swimmers. Sky's Rebecca Williams is live in Weston-super-Mare for us. So it is August. Rebecca, a lot of people heading to the beach, and they probably take for granted the fact that they can just go into the water close for home, and they forget how dangerous it can be.
Well, that's exactly right, yes. A beautiful morning here, of course. Not many people here at the moment, but no doubt later on it will get very busy. And the RNLI warning that August is the most deadliest month. They're warning people to take extra care if they're going into the sea. And of course, they say over the last 5 years in the UK, 122 people have died at sea in the month of August. And of course, last year we saw that horrific story in Camber Sands when 5 gentlemen died in August. They were competent swimmers, they were healthy, they were fit, and yet they got into trouble. And the warning is, if people see anyone fall into open water, then call 999 immediately and ask for the Coast Guard. Well, we are here in Weston-super-Mare, a very busy lifeboat station. Let's have a chat to volunteer Glyn.
Morning.
What are the problems that you see people getting into in the summer months?
Well, of course, in the summer months, people come down to enjoy themselves by the sea. And the trouble is they don't really understand the sea. And we have problems around here with people going out on things like lilos and blow-up dinghies, which the tide is, we have the second highest range of tide in the world here. And so once they get out there, the tide catches them, and the next thing that they know, they're off the way to North America. So we have to go and get them. And the other big problem we have is because the tide is so vicious and rapid around here, people get very easily cut off, either by the mud or on the rocks. And again, we have to go and get them. before the tide overwhelms them, because with the range of tides we've got, it's very easy to drown around here.
And what's your advice to people if they get stuck in a riptide or if they get stuck in very cold water, I guess?
If in both cases, the advice is very similar. In both cases, the tendency is to panic. You immediately, if you get into cold water, you get what's called cold water shock, and you immediately want to gasp and panic. And if you're in a riptide, you want to panic. In both cases, the answer is relax. Lie back and float. Lie back and float in cold water, because then that'll give your body a chance to adjust, and then you can start breathing normally. And in a riptide, if you lie back and relax, it'll take you out to sea where there isn't a riptide, and you can then swim along the seashore and back in.
OK, thanks very much for that advice there, Glenn. I should just show you, before we go, this is one of the launching tractors here. As I say, Weston-super-Mare, a very busy lifeboat station. Last year, they had 56 call-outs here, and they saved 13 lives. So these guys here, all volunteers, do a fantastic job. And like I say, if you see anyone in trouble this summer, the advice is call 999, ask for the Coast Guard as soon as possible.
OK, Rebecca in Weston-super-Mare, looks like it's going to be a nice day there today. Thanks very much indeed.